Okay, you can't hear any echo? Okay, we are live. Hello, and thank you for joining us today on another edition of the Global Youth Mental Health Awareness Show, where we have open conversations with the youth about mental health. I'm your host, KATINDA, NDOLA, author of The Big Comeback and founder and creative director of the Confidence and Self-Esteem Academy, and one of Jim Herr's special board advisors. Now, in today's show, we're so blessed to be in the presence of 5 amazing panelists. And our first panelist is, I think I'm going to make sure I've got everybody here, is Kiriti Sharma. Kiriti is a social emotional educator, founder, Psy Within, counseling psychologist, TA practitioner, I think international certified career coach. Hello and welcome to the show, Kiriti.
Namaste and warm greetings from India. Thank you.
Thank you. And our second panelist is Mandu Gloria. Gloria is a Jim Herr ambassador, founder, team lead at Giant Strides Initiative, director of communications and media at Slum and Rural Health Initiative Network, SRHIN. Hello and welcome to the show, Gloria.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Welcome. And our third panelist is Okay, and our third panelist is Chijioke Nwako. Did I say that all right?
Yes, you're correct. Correct.
So Chijioke is a Jim Herr volunteer. Hello, welcome to the show. Hello, welcome to Chijioke.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I think we still have that echo again. Yes, okay. I'll just give it one moment to see if it's going to settle. Can you all hear me okay? Can you hear the echo?
We still have an echo.
I hear you clearly.
Yeah, but is there an echo? Okay, now the echo's gone. I don't know if there's interference. Still there? We still have an echo. Okay, I'm not sure why that is happening. Just bear with me one moment. Okay. Can you still hear the echo?
No.
What about now? Still there's an echo. Okay, just 1 second. We'll just wait and see what Jude is going to do. Gloria or Kiriti, can you just speak? Let's see whether there's still an echo.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
The echo's coming from our side. I don't know why it's coming from our side. Just one moment. Okay. I think we just have to do this live. We might just log in again because something's there's a lot of interference. Okay, it seems like it's disappeared. No? Okay, so I think we'll just go live again. I'll just disconnect and come back on again and start again because I think there's something wrong. Yeah, so just leave the studio and reconnect again. Thank you. Okay, we'll just test that and see if that's better. Kiriti, can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Gloria, can you hear me too?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
So we don't have an echo now. We sound much better.
I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just start this all over again. I know we've been live for 6 minutes. So hello, and thank you for joining us today on the Global Youth Mental Health Awareness Show, where we have an open conversations with the youth about mental health. I'm your host, KATINDA, author of The Big Comeback and founder and creative director of the Confidence and Self-Esteem Academy, and one of Jim Harris' special board advisors. And in today's show, we are so blessed to be in the presence of 5 amazing panelists. And our first panelist is Gloria Mandu. Gloria is a Jimha ambassador, founder, team lead at Giant Strides Initiative, director of communications and media at Slum and Rural Health Initiative Network, SRHRN. Hello and welcome to the show, Gloria.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And our second panelist is Kiriti Sharma. Kiriti is a social emotional educator, founder, Psy Within, counseling psychologist, TA practitioner, international certified career coach. Hello and welcome to the show, Kiriti.
Namaste and warm greetings from India. Thank you.
Thank you. And our third panelist is Jijioke Nwako. Jijioke is a Jimha volunteer engagement coordinator. Hello and welcome to the show, Jijioke.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. We've got a few guests coming on. I think they're just not here yet. Maybe they have connection issue. So our topic today is actually an eye-opener. In our conversation today, our guests will give us some insights on what toxic relationships look like, who they can affect, the signs, and how to cope and heal. But before we dive in deeper into the show, I would love to know, how are we feeling today? Gloria.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, firstly, I'm grateful for the privilege and the opportunity to be here on the start from today. Well, I feel happy and I feel privileged too. I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you. What about Jijioke? How are you feeling today?
Thank you very much. Before I continue, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And I'm fine. I'm very great. And I feel happy being in this wonderful gathering. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What about Kiriti? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling quite blessed, and I would like to extend my gratitude to Jimha and Professor Jude and you, an amazing panelist, and I'm very curious to see how this conversation rolls today.
Yes, it's a very exciting conversation. Now, it comes as no surprise that a toxic relationship contaminates your self-esteem, your happiness, and the way you see yourself and the world. And a relationship is toxic when your well-being is threatened in some way, emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. So then, what may a toxic relationship look like? We know that a toxic relationship is one that makes you feel unsupported, misunderstood, demeaned, or attacked. And on a basic level, any relationship that makes you feel worse rather than better can become toxic over time. So toxic relationships can exist in just about any context. So then who can be in a toxic relationship? Gloria, would you like to tackle that one first?
Okay. I love the explanation you give about toxic relationship. Okay, from my perspective, I believe anyone can be in a toxic relationship, irrespective of the gender, their age, their status, their religion. So just anyone can be in a relationship. It could be from maybe your family, in a family, it could be toxic, maybe a workplace or in romantic relationship. So just anyone can actually be in a toxic relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Tipshika. We can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Hello and welcome to the show. So we're talking about toxic relationships. Yes, we can hear you. Yes, so we're talking about toxic relationships, and Gloria was just telling us who can be in a toxic relationship. Who else wants to add something to that? Who else do you think? Who can actually be in a toxic relationship? Gloria was saying anybody can be. Anybody wants to add anything to that?
Yeah, sure. I would like to add on something. Basically, people, who just lack love in their life, and those who have not very, favorable or loving upbringing environment, they usually fall in that trap. And
Right.
a kind of abandoned child, or who they have witnessed their parents conflicting relationships, even
Great.
they can affect. Yeah, so that was from my side. As well, I would say, yeah, some mental disorder, survivors or sufferers may definitely fall in that trap, like narcissistic personality, and depressed persons, as well, anxiety related issues, those who have, and those who are insecure, those who already suffer with the issues with self-worth or low self-esteem, they usually fall in that trap.
Sure. Anyone else? Kiriti or Joyka, did you want to add to that?
I'd love to add one point here.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so toxic in itself means something which is unpleasant, which is harmful, and by relationship, it means the connection. So this can be personal, it can be professional, it can be romantic, it can be unromantic also. And we have to highlight the point that it is not gender specific. It can happen in any relationship per se, with any gender being in a toxic relationship. So when we are talking about who can be in a toxic relationship, I think someone who has inadequate strength due to virtue or choice. Now, this, like Dipshika also mentioned, it can be someone who lacks certain strengths. It can also be by virtue. If someone is living in an environment where that person is dependent out of virtue, that person is more vulnerable to being in a toxic relationship. Someone with a disability can be. And
True.
that's the point I wanted to add here.
Thank you. We have here a comment from Valentine. People with unrealistic self-concept also can be people who can obviously be in toxic relationships. Joyka, did you want to add to that?
Yes. Good morning, everybody from Nigeria.
Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Just to add to what Gloria has said, virtually everybody can be in a toxic relationship. The reason is this. The fact is that, with exception of just few, so many persons want to be emotionally and physically attached to each other. And that is because they feel that life is better shared, is better spent, is more lived happily when you are with others. So basically, anyone, because relationship starts before you talk about whether it is toxic or healthy one. So toxic relationship, anybody can be in a toxic relationship, this regardless of your gender or your status in life. You can be in a toxic relationship. It depends on the management of the two partners and what it finally results to. Thank you.
Thank you. What are the signs and unhealthy behaviors of a toxic relationship? Gloria, what do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So there are various signs of unhealthy or a toxic relationship. Number one sign is abuse. This is when a partner or the both partner abuse each other sexually, physically, emotionally, or even verbally. And another sign again of a toxic relationship is when a partner tends to give more, to the other partner than he ought to. I know that most times in a relationship, one partner tends to, give more or tend to love more than the other. But when it's repeatedly and it gets to a point where it drains you emotionally, it gets to a point when it makes you feel you're not valued. It makes you feel like you're not wanted. You feel like you're rejected. Then that's the toxic relationship. So, and another sign is when that relationship begins to have a negative effect on your self-esteem as an individual. Normally, relationships are actually meant to improve you, are meant to make you better. But then, when that relationship begins to have negative impacts on your self-esteem, making you feel inferior, making you feel less of yourself, then that's a toxic relationship. And now there are some unhealthy behaviors that may be exhibited by one partner or both partners. It could be selfishness, it could be self-centered, it could be when a partner is overly insecure, it could be jealousy, it could be maybe making demeaning comments that don't help build you up, comments that always make you less of yourself, then that's the toxic relationship.
Thank you. Dipshika, what would you like to add to that? That was a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no. I would say just one and a very significant point that if any relationship, doesn't matter with whom, if it's persistently giving you unhappiness, then that's the first red flag that you must need to recognize that, yeah, we are in wrong place. So that's something most important. And of course, lots of points are also there with this attached, but the most important is it's giving you persistently and constantly unhappiness, and it's just I would say clashing with your self-esteem, self-worth, and particularly self-respect. So definitely we need to recognize, yeah, that it's a toxic relationship, either it's with your parents or a professional place or a personal or love relationship, whatever it is. If
Thank
you're
you.
unhappy with it, yeah.
Thank you. What about Kirti? What would you like to add? What are some signs and unhealthy behaviors of a toxic relationship?
So we have discussed a couple of points here. Some of them I would like to add is probably difficulty accepting rejection. We're often taught how to say no, but are we also taught how to accept rejection, check those signs also? Of course, there's a culture where we're talking about toxic positivity, toxic masculinity. Let's also consider them. Let's also check if the person is having a lot of controlling behavior. But the underlying sentence that I would like to add here is please be very careful when we are labeling a person as toxic or a relationship as toxic, because it is very contextual, it is very subjective. At times, it may occur that the problematic behaviors are actually stemming from us and we may project it onto the others. So we have to be very careful when we are labeling something as toxic.
Thank you. Okay, we have a comment here from Sani Mohammed. Being too judgmental and passing verdict at all times. Yes, that's a behavior for toxicity as well. Okay, thank you. And Joyke, did you want to add to that?
Yes, I would love to add to that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Okay, okay.
Yes.
One of there are so many signs of a toxic relationship. One of them is hostile communication. Hostile communication is covered that in a relationship that the communication is not really healthy. Communication is one of the vital aspect of every communication, of every relationship. When the communication is no longer healthy, that relationship is gradually becoming toxic. Another one is the aspect of when a partner is listening to respond instead of listening to understand you. You see, there is a big difference between somebody listening to you and listening to attack you back. So in a relationship, whenever two partners, whenever a particular partner is listening just to respond to what you are saying, you discover that that relationship is gradually fading, fading and fading. And just like one of the speakers, one other thing is lack of trust. Lack of trust. Trust is very, very vital in a relationship. When the trust between two partners begin to go down, you discover that that relationship is becoming harmful and toxic. There are so many of them. There are so many of them always trying to be in charge, always trying to be in charge. That will make your partner feel low self-esteem. He or she will feel that he cannot do anything. He cannot do anything. You always want to be at the top. Those are signs of toxic relationship. In a relationship, there's supposed to be an equal right. But in a situation whereby a partner is trying to overshadow and take charge of every activity, you discover that that relationship is gradually going down. Thank you.
Thank you. We see a common thread about how a toxic relationship really impacts on the self-esteem of the person who's feeling, of course, abused. So how does a toxic relationship then impact one's physical and mental health? We know self-esteem is how you like yourself. And so if you don't like yourself because of what you've been told, that already starts taking you down in a different path. So how does a toxic relationship impact one's physical and mental health? Gloria. Gloria, I think you're frozen. Maybe Deepshika, would you like to go? Because I don't know what's happening to Gloria's.
Sure. So when it comes to physical, there are problems in sleep, like sleep problems, hypertension, heart diseases, and even it weakens our immune system and damages organs. So these are few physical damages. And when it comes to mental, definitely it arouses our anxiety levels. A person may be depressed due to these, and then a lot more like self-worth issues. They may face confidence issues. It can shatter their self-respect and who they are as a person. Even sometimes it clashes with their identity when they are in toxic relationship. So these are few points from my side.
Thank you. What about Kirti? What do you think?
I don't think it impacts. So everyone would be like, what? I'd say it not only affects physical and mental health, but it also affects their social health, their financial health, their occupational health, their spiritual health. So these are the pillars on which we as humans, we stand. And when the platform gets weak, all these pillars fall. Of course, it impacts physical health and mental health. It also affects all the other aspects of it because every aspect is interrelated. There is a pour over which happens from one aspect to the other. If mentally a person gets weak because of a toxic relationship, it will manifest into their physical health, in their work environment. That will affect their finances, that will affect the kind of social ties it has. It may lead to crime, it may lead to substance abuse. There are so many, it's like a chain reaction. It starts from somewhere, it ends somewhere else. So it affects, yes.
Thank you. We have a comment here from Sani Mohammed, reminding people of things that is painful and they don't have the power to change just to make them feel bad. You're very short. Example, you're very short. Yes, of course. If you're short, there's nothing you can do to change that. That's a good one. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, what about Jijoike? What would you like to add to that?
Okay, just to add to what my colleague has said, toxic relationship has a lot of effects on our mental and physical health. That the reason is this. It takes a lot of time to retrain the brain. It takes a lot of time to retrain the brain. And anything that affects your emotional well-being will definitely affect your brain. So toxic relationship has a lot of mental shifted because it will disorganize your thinking. It will disorganize your thinking and give you another mindset. Sometimes toxic relationship can give you a negative mindset about relationship, about relating with person. So it has a lot to do with our mental health because sometimes even our physical well-being. Because whenever something tampered your brain, you discover that your thinking will entirely change. And when your thinking changes, it will now navigate to your relationship with persons. It has a lot to do. It has a lot to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I see another comment from Sani Mohammed. Impact. It creates a sense of alienation. Definitely, people start to feel lonely. And again, that creates, they become unbalanced. Once you're not in balance, everything starts to go wrong. Your physical health, your mental health, your social health, well-being, your spiritual health, everything. Yes, thank you so much. Now, just moving on, in the case of romantic relationships, how do people end up in toxic relationships? We know that people in the beginning of romantic relationships, everybody's really nice and everybody's in their best behavior. And with time, their real character comes out. But how does this happen? Dipshika, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So I would say, yeah, love is very good in itself. It's amazing feel, but excess of anything doesn't matter how good it is, how amazing it is. It's going to harm anyone. So is love. So when it comes to romantic relationships, excessive love and undermining respect, mutual understanding, and adjusting with each other, adaptability, these things are undermined and love just goes high. And that definitely disturbs the balance. And that may definitely change in toxic relationships sooner or later. So these are certain things which need to be taken care of. Doesn't matter how good your relationship is. That
Thank you.
avoid excessiveness of anything. Just maintain that balance.
In other words, you're saying don't be addicted to love. Okay, Gloria, would you like to add to that? In the case of romantic relationships, how do people end up in these toxic relationships?
Okay, sorry, I had some issues with my network.
That's okay.
Okay,
That's fine.
The truth is, no one ever plans to end up in a toxic relationship. Sometimes, one of the reasons that make people end up in toxic relationship is when people claim to be in love, and then they're blinded by the real attitudes of their partner. For instance, one who is, for instance, you have a partner who is very angry. You just claim, okay, love, and then just ignore that fact, forgetting that maybe it was like to you. And secondly, there's this needy for love. When one is needy for love, maybe as a result of um, lacked love while growing up, or they had previous relationship that had created a vacuum in their heart, and they just want someone who would just fill up that space, irrespective of their partner's characters or attitudes. So when people are needy for love. Another reason people end up in toxic relationship is when people go into relationship with untreated wounds or scars. A lot of people are going around with this untreated scars, which could be as a result of a past hurtful relationship, and they don't treat them, they just go into relationship, and then they expect the partners to maybe meet up with their expectations and all that. So when those expectations are not met, you know, irrespective of whosoever the partner is, they could just end up in such relationships.
Yes, definitely. Emotional scars, a lot of people have that, and I believe they don't actually know how to heal. So if anybody's watching this show today, if you've just joined us, we're talking about toxic relationships, how to heal, how to identify them, how to see the signs, and what to do if you're in a toxic relationship. So please click share, comment, and invite your friends to watch and ask questions. That's why we do this show, the Global Youth Mental Health Awareness Show, to just empower you, give you tools and strategies to be able to empower your lives and to help other people who might be in your family or your friends or anybody you know that might need this kind of inspiration. Now, I see here we have another comment from Valentine. He says effects include, this is from the previous question, trust issues. It makes it hard for the victim to trust again. And secondly, it makes the person feel unloved and not willing to love anymore. That is so, so true. Okay, thank you. I see Sunny also, it creates a social group based on bullying when others have started sympathizing with the one engaging in toxic behaviors. Thank you, Sunny. That's amazing. I see we've got, okay, you mean to say we shouldn't love so deep? Oh, Deepshika, that's for you. We can't hear you.
Yeah. So I simply mean that there must be balance. Yeah. Of course, we are supposed to love anyone wholeheartedly, but a balance need to be restored along with love, respect, mutual understanding, and cooperation are just attached to it. It's, I would say, umbrella term, love. It's not only about love. Love includes even self, your respect, mutual understanding, cooperation, and just supporting the other person. So I mean that, not only love. That was it.
Thank you, thank you. Just moving forward, okay, so we're talking about in case of romantic relationships, how do people end up in a toxic relationship? Kirti, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, continuing where we left, when you're talking about love, because this question is very important. At times, people don't understand why am I even in this situation at the first place. When we're talking about love, it's not loving blindly. It's not loving to the extent of self-destruction. We need to understand the difference between me and we. And toxic relationships are such that it's like a poison served in a golden dish. It looks fancy on the face value, but when you consume that liquid, it'll destroy. These relationships are such, it doesn't happen overnight. Toxic relationships take time. It enters in our belief system very slowly, very gradually. It's a very gradual process. It's like a termite attack. It enters our system very slowly and then it makes us hollow from inside and we don't know where to go. But yes, we can heal from it. And when we're talking about why does a person end up in a toxic relationship, it can be due to their attachment styles. It can be due to their emotional build. It can be due to their belief systems. It's a very subjective answer, which it'll be difficult to give blanket points here. But overall, I think these are some.
Thank you. I see here we've got another, Valentine says, one of the reasons that make people end up in toxic relationships is compromising where you ought not to. So not throwing your options open at the early stage. Yes, thank you, thank you. Moving forward, who else wants to add to this before we move on to the next question? Joyka, did you want to add to anything here?
Let me briefly add something. Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We see a lot of things today when it comes to relationship, especially relationship that has led to marriage. Actually, in the case of a romantic relationship leading to a toxic relationship, there are so many reasons. One of them is that, most times we look at our background, the way we have been trained. Sometimes you discover that a parent may want his or her daughter or the son to marry to a particular family. These two persons have not come far to understand each other. When they get into this marriage at the first stage, they will, of course, they will be loved. But as time progresses, you discover that these persons did not really know themselves. So when the real character begins to come up, we discover that the relationship will begin to turn into a toxic one. Another one is that our past experience. Yes, our past experience. Sometimes some persons get into a relationship because they are tired of breakups, because they are tired of not being of being called a single person. So this kind of persons, when they get into a relationship, they don't want to know if it will favor them or not. All they want is to be in that relationship. And when they be in that relationship, you discover that it will not last because obviously they don't know each other, and there is nothing strong that have binded them too much. And sometimes, when two persons got married, you discover that there is always this tussle for who to control, Sometimes at a point, the wife or the husband may be trying to be in control. So along the along line, there will be the relationship will begin to turn to toxic when this person is no longer agreeing to this person's terms, trying to be in control. So these are some of the reasons that turns a romantic relationship into a toxic one. Thank you.
Thank you. And how do toxic relationships, how can they affect future relationships? Because a lot of time there is the notion of, if you go to a relationship, I believe when you're not in a relationship, or when you've broken up in a relationship, you need time to heal your wounds and work on yourself and self-love before you can actually be ready to really share yourself with another person. So then, because we're talking about toxic relationships, how can they affect the future relationships? Does it mean then, if you're not healed and you move on to the next relationship, like Dijoika said, it's not going to last because you're not ready. You're just already toxic yourself, and you're taking toxicity to the next place you're going. What are your thoughts? Who wants to tackle that one? Gloria?
Okay, can
See you smiling.
Okay, now I'll use myself as an example. This is quite personal, but I would love to share it. I was in a relationship at some point. That was toxic because for me, I was suffering from emotional form of abuse. And then after breaking up from that relationship, I thought I was okay. I thought I was, I didn't seek help, so I thought I was just fine. And then I moved on with my life. Little did I know that I had a lot of negative impact from that previous relationship. It affected my chores. It affected my perspective about men. It affected a lot of things. I couldn't even express myself emotionally. So that was really, really bad. You know, it's not just, it doesn't just affect you at that point, but then if you don't seek help, if you don't learn how to, cope with it, it could just affect your future relationship. Okay, so after that, I had tried, going into a relationship, but I found out that I still had that, that negative baggage along with me. And until I sought for help, and then I met a counselor psychologist who helped me through. And with time, I found that I could cope better, I could live better, I could interact better with people, even especially people from the opposite sex. So that's how it affects. It really affects future relationship if you don't seek help.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That was a very
Thank you for sharing that. That was a very
yes. It's always good when we hear real life stories. Okay, who else wants to say something? Who wants to add how else do toxic relationships affect future relationships? Joyka, you wanted to speak before?
Okay, though she has said part of what I wanted to say, but I would love to add that it has a lot to do with future relationship. Yes, because the present cannot be treated outside the past, because most of the things that actually trigger into a bigger issue is our inability to treat the past. So a toxic relationship can affect so much in the future because one, if you've been in a relationship, for instance, where somebody lied to you, and at the end that caused the breakup in that relationship, you discover that you will have this trust issue. You will have that trust issue that it will only take a therapy or a therapist rather to help you out. Whenever you have been in a toxic relationship, and in the future when probably you get into another relationship, you will have this issue of trust because you find it difficult. It will be very hard for you to trust what persons have ever said. It is only things that come out of your own mind that you will want to do. And you discover that with that, you will begin to have issues in a relationship. You begin to have a lot of issues because you may not know that the person you meet at the present is not actually the way the other person is, but treating the present with the past, you always rely on that and it will affect you. Thank you.
Sure, true. Kiriti, did you want to add to that?
Sure. First off, Gloria, that is very brave of you to share your story. Thank you for that. And I do believe it affects future relationships, but it can affect in a good way or in a bad way. If we choose to work on it, if we choose the difficult way of trying to heal it and then move forward, it gets better with time. If we choose to just jump onto the next relationship in order to forget what has happened, it gets difficult. So when just taking an example of getting a wound on your hand, if we don't treat it and if we go outside and if we expect that it remains safe, it may not be a smart decision. But if we choose to treat that wound, wait until it heals and then go outside, it'll be better. So we do see a lot of examples in the world out there where people have actually significantly overcome their difficult past relationships which were toxic, and then went on to helping others get out of similar situations. So it's a very subjective choice. It may or it may not affect in a bad manner. And yeah, let's have our hopes high to heal and then move forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Deepshika, did you want to add something before we move on to the next question?
Sure. I would say it's not about one's relationship. It's about what they have witnessed throughout their life around them, like their parents' relationship, in whichever society they are residing, like relationship around them, and then in which kind of relationship they remain. All this all together just affects a person, and definitely, but I would say not that much because primary effect is about how their mindset works. It's all about one's mindset. So mindset is something I would say most powerful. So if we are resilient, then we can deal with anything positively, and definitely good things will happen, will come on the way. So this
Thank
is
you.
the thing. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I see we've got another comment from Valentine. Another reason is jumping into a relationship without a purpose. When you have a purpose, then arises the need to observe your partner to ascertain if his or her school of thought is in line with yours. That is so true. Like I think a lot of people don't even know why they get into relationships. It's because it's taboo. It's just what people do. And I believe if people can ask questions, that'll be really good. Okay. We have a question. Can you please throw more light on this excessive love? That's from Gotch. Who wants to tackle that question?
Sure, I would love to. Excessive love, it's not about only excessive love, it's about excessive of anything. Excessive of anything can never do good to anyone. Doesn't matter how good or amazing that thing is. And so is love. And one need to take care of the whole umbrella, not only just a part of it, so that we can be completely under that umbrella, and that will protect us from, I would say, rain or from more sunlight. So that will help us. Like when it comes to love, love is already an umbrella term, and which includes, as already we have discussed, which includes respect, mutual understanding, cooperation, support, unwavering support, I would say.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, that was from my side.
Anybody else wants to answer, add to that question? Okay, so we'll just move on. We've got, in the interest of time. So are toxic relationships always bad, and can it be fixed? Victoria, I see you're here. If you can hear us, do you want to actually give us some insight? Victoria?
Hi, can you
How
hear
are we?
me?
Yes, we can.
I'm well, thank you.
Did you want to give us
Sincere
a...
apologies for
That's okay.
joining late.
That's fine. So do you want to share some light on, are toxic relationships always bad, and can they be fixed?
Yes, they are always bad, and there is a high possibility of toxic relationships being fixed. That's if the people involved really want to get them fixed. Because before we talk about fixing toxic relationships, the people involved have to be decisive in terms of making a decision to get out of the relationship or to stay in the relationship. Here in Africa, where we live in a culture where um, people don't even know what being in a toxic relationship is. For example, people would stay in a toxic relationship uh, for a long period of time without realizing it, and it becomes very difficult for a third party to fix the toxic relationship. So if they are not willing to fix it or to fix the future, because it affects a lot of things. Being in a toxic relationship will affect your work, your business, and all the other things around you. So if you're not willing to fix it, then unfortunately you may die.
Very true.
Thank you.
Thank you. I see here there's a comment for Gloria. Come to think of it, trust issue is always a problem in a relationship. Did you want to put a comment? And then a little mistake can break a big trust. That is very true. Did you want to actually respond to that? Respond to that? We can't hear you. Gloria, you unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Just like she said, I agree with you. Trust issues is one of the biggest issues we experience in a relationship. It's not easy to build trust, but then when trust is built, and then when it's broken, it's very hard to fix. You get, but then it can be fixed if the both partners are willing to, fix that trust issues. Okay, so moving on to the question you asked. Yes, toxic relationships are bad, but it depends on the individuals involved, whether or not they're willing to, work on their relationship or get out of that relationship. So one way that we can fix the toxic relationship is communication. Communication is very, very important in every relationship. Take for instance, a family relationship. If your parents are toxic to you, or perhaps abusing you verbally, it's important you communicate to them. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what they say that hurts you. In a romantic relationship and it's toxic, tell your partner how you feel. Most times you keep quiet and then bottle everything in, and then over time this begins to affect us. So tell them how you feel. So secondly is setting boundaries. For you to, fix this relationship, you have to set boundaries for yourself and set boundaries for others. There's this thing that It teaches people how to treat you. If you're in a romantic relationship and then it's toxic, either you get out of the relationship, or if you choose to stay, then be willing to set some boundaries. Be willing to set some rules. Secondly, if it's a family relationship, then you could actually set um, a limit to interactions with those family members that are toxic to you. If it's a casual relationship, perhaps maybe in a workplace or just your friends, to limit your interactions with them, because if you don't do that, over time it's going to be, have negative impacts on your life. So another way again you can, fix this relationship, it's by seeking help. You need to really seek help from a mentor, a professional. Just seek help, because when you seek help, it helps you heal faster. It helps you cope with that situation. So these are some points that can help you fix a toxic relationship.
Thank you. Thank you. We've got a
Thank
question
you.
here
Thank
from
you. We've got a
Thompson.
question here.
If your girlfriend always demands for material things, does it amount to a toxic relationship? Who wants to take that answer?
Maybe I can take it.
Go. Okay, answer.
If your girlfriend always demand for material things, I think it goes back to the basics. What are the laid down principles of your relationship, and what are the boundaries of your relationship? Because if you can't define that from the start, you be at a place where you feel like the person I'm in a relationship with is only with me because of my material possessions. So it goes back to to the to, to the basics, to the genesis of a relationship. How was it established? What are the foundations? What are some of the things that drive a relationship? So if material, financial things weren't part of those foundations, then we can say um, a girlfriend always demanding for material things is is can amount to being in a toxic relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving forward, because we've got a short period of time. We've got two more questions. Okay, I see again. Valentine says, Thompson Kwame, it does if what is demanded isn't what you can afford, and also not adding any value to the relationship. Yes, yes. So, how can anyone get out of a toxic relationship? Kirti, would you like to give us some insight on that?
Absolutely. So, when we're talking about getting out of a situation, there are two aspects to it. One is the external, and the other one is the internal. When we're talking about external, it can be taking external assistance from family, from friends, and obviously from professionals. And when we're talking about the internal side, that is where the main fight lies. We can get external help relatively easily, but when we're talking about the internal fight, it requires a lot of work. First off, we need to overcome having shame. We usually think that we are so drowned in shame. What will the other person think? Am I a loser? Am I that weak that I got into a toxic relationship? We have to also overcome the fact that we think that we are the only one on the earth uh, dealing with similar situation or going through difficult times. We have to know our worth, which is much more than that one relationship. At times, we attach our entire identity with that one relationship. So we have to understand that our self-worth is much more than that. Here, one tool which is to do with communication helps immensely. I have been using transactional analysis with my clients, and I would thank my teachers to empower me with this tool. And it helps with assertive communication styles. It helps in understanding the drama which is happening in the toxic relationships and how to tackle that. And I would want to also highlight in 1 minute the and I vouch for this, that preventive mental health care is big time battle tested, and it will help anyone from entering a relationship from at the first place. Prevention is better than cure. One can prevent themselves to get into such relationships at the first place. We need to empower all of us to understand the flags, and understand how the dynamic should be placed. Like one of the speakers said, it's a very foundational, it's very basic. We need to go back to our basics and understand. So yeah, we need to have our sync of what we think, what our heart feels, and what we speak. They'll definitely help us.
Thank you. I see Gotcha's got that question here. In that case, what is a toxic relationship? I think I did define that in the beginning, but maybe Deepshika, did you want to give your version? What's toxic relationship?
Like, I'm not very clear which questions she's referring here, but when it comes to...
Yeah, it was a previous question, but I think it's basically just talking about what exactly is toxic relationship, because that was about if somebody demands material stuff, does that mean then it's toxic relationship?
Yeah, maybe, and you can check that. Just stop them giving that privilege and check their reaction. Definitely, you can sort the matter out. Is it toxic or not? That's very practical way to sort it out.
Okay, I see Valentine says how to get out. First, you need to go back to the drawing board. What had you wanted before now? Is that what you have? Then your answer is the first step to solving your problem, identifying what the problem is. Yes, thank you. That's a very insightful answer.
And most important, I would like to add on something very important. It's okay to make them very important part of your life, but it's not okay at all to make them your world, your complete world. Just make them a part of your world, one very important part, but never ever make them your whole world. That will definitely hurt either you or the next person. So
yeah, so
be very
basically,
careful with that. Like,
yeah, so what you're saying is don't lose yourself in the relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Joyka, did you want to add to how can anyone get out of a toxic relationship? Oh, you're muted. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
You're muted again.
Okay. Can you hear me now, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes. There are actually ways to get out of a toxic relationship. One thing is that it takes you knowing where you are before you start looking for a solution. First of it is that you have to understand that you are in a toxic relationship. Yes, your understanding of where you are will help you to devise a solution to your problem. So first, you have to understand that you are in a toxic relationship. Secondly, you have to speak up for yourself when it is time to speak. Yes, most often some persons always lack in this aspect. They always want to be in that relationship, and that will neglect part of their role in the relationship. So for you to get out of a toxic relationship, you have to speak up for yourself when it is time for you to speak out for yourself. Also, you have to prepare your finance. Yes, if you prepare to get out of a relationship, you have to prepare yourself financially. Seek outside help. Sometimes you go seek out for a coach, a therapist, seek out for somebody that is higher than you in that experience. That will help a lot. And the one is that you should also create boundaries and stick to that. Sometimes persons make decisions, but they are unable to hold up to this decision. They say, okay, I'll say I want to end this, but at the long run, you discover that they are still appreciating what they are getting from that relationship. So until you begin to make a decision, it has to do with your personal decision. Remember, one thing is that you cannot change your partner, but you can change yourself. When you change yourself, your partner is using things. Thank you.
Thank you. Gloria, would you like to add some insight?
Me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Firstly, I think basically you need to understand that it's not easy. We say break up from the relationship, get out from the relationship, but the truth is it's never easy. Like it's never easy. So firstly, understanding that it's not easy, it's okay to cry, it's emotional, but then again you need to take stock of um how toxic that relationship was to you. You need to take stock of everything that went through the real at the relationship. You need to take up of lesson, that you learned from the relationship. I could remember one time a mentor was telling me, she said, every experience you go through in life makes you wiser and stronger if you look at the positive aspect of it you know. So after realizing, okay, this relationship is toxic, and then breaking up for the relationship, what you can do is you could also set some boundaries. Most times we are kind of maybe forced to want to go back to that previous relationship. So you could cut off every form of communications with that partner. But then if it's a family relationship, you can get out from your family. So what you can do that period, or what you can do in that situation, is changing your disposition and attitude towards that family member. Most times speaking, for instance, a mother who accuses her child emotionally or verbally. You can change your mother, of course you can, but you can decide to change your attitude and your disposition towards her actions. Instead of being always aggressive or harsh towards her, you can start being more caring, more loving towards her. You can start being more happy towards her actions. With time, she realize, oh, there's something going on, and begin to adjust her attitude. So if it's, for instance, a casual relationship or a workplace relationship, like I previously said, you could, limit your interactions with this individual. So I think this is what we can,
Thank
use
you.
to cope or,
Thank,
get out of a relationship.
thank you. Thank you, Gloria. I see here we've got actually Valentin again makes a comment. Secondly, approach your partner and ask them of their goal in the current relationship, and then compare that with yours. If they both ain't aligning, then you'd know that you had been in a train moving to the wrong destination. I sincerely thank Gloria for inviting me over. I'm proud of you, my dear friend. Gloria, that is a compliment from your friend Valentine. Now, we've got the one last question here. So, what are some strategies that people can use to manage and heal from toxic relationships? I know, Joyka, you were talking about when people realize in a toxic relationship, but we also do know that it's not always the other person. Sometimes you could be the person who's toxic and you don't see yourself as toxic because maybe you're narcissistic. It's just your habit, you're used to it, so you don't even know. And now, you have to be the change you want to see in the world before you know. But how can people manage and heal? Victoria, did you maybe want to give us some insight?
Well, how do people manage to heal from being in a toxic relationship? I think the first step in healing is acceptance. You need to get to a place where you accept the role that you played in the toxic relationship. Because the truth of the matter is, two individuals always have a role to play. It's either one is toxic or both are toxic. So the first step is acceptance. You need to accept that you're in this relationship, but you can still get out. Now, acceptance here does not in any way uh, symbolize defeat or symbolize weakness, but it just means that you're willing to fix the problem. Number two, after accepting that, yes, I'm in a toxic relationship, you need now to be decisive. What do you want? Do you want to stay there and fix it, or do you want to get out? All this is dependent on you. You can choose to stay there, fix it as a couple, seek therapy, and access all these mental health services near you, or you can decide to leave, and all that is dependent on you. So you can manage a toxic relationship by accepting, being decisive, know what you want, go back to the drawing board, realign your goals, and see if they're workable for you going forward. But at the end of the day, always do what's best for you and don't compromise. Because when you begin to compromise, you're now being in a toxic relationship with yourself. Thank you.
That is actually very true. You know, there's always the idea of when you're not kind to yourself, you're actually abusing yourself. So it's not, abuse is not always from other people. Sometimes it's from yourself too. I see here Valentine says, very important, the best medication is prevention. Always have a definition for anything you're doing. Relationship isn't what you do for fun or a ride in the beach. This is something that molds you into what you'd be in view. Thank you so much, Valentine. Deepshika, what are your insights about this? What are some strategies that people can use to manage and heal from toxic relationships?
So first of all, I would like to add on that there are two conditions. And the first one is, if you want to remain in the same relationship and work on it, that's the first condition. And the second one is, you want to get out of this relation. So when it comes to first condition, like you, both of you want to work on your relationships and mend the things, then the very first thing, you both are willing, equally willing, to just make up the things and work on it, whatever it takes. And just honestly put in your effort, intention, and action to just work on that relationship, whatever it demands from both of your sides. That's the first condition.
Thank you.
And
Just
then-
please, can you, Deepshika, just 1 second. Please, if you're not speaking, can you mute yourselves? Because there's a lot of background noise. We can't actually hear Deepshika.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just everybody else. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself because there's a lot of background noise. So, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Now can you hear me? Now
Yeah,
can you
yeah.
hear me?
Go ahead.
So, yeah, we were talking about first condition where both the partners want to, just repair the things, work on their relationship. In that condition, they both can work together, take professional help, and just put in effort and intention from their side. And most important thing, they both need to know that it's not you versus your partner, it's about you both versus the communication, bad communication, I would say. So something most important, the most important thing in a relationship is communication, topmost thing. So we need to work on that, and we need to reflect whether we are using it rightly or not, whether it's benefiting our relationship or harming it. So we need to work accordingly and make our strategy accordingly.
Thank
Like
you.
blaming, shaming, and yeah, definitely being judgmental, these are kind of bad communication style, and it's not going to benefit anyone in any way. So it's very important to be very mindful which words you use with anyone in any relationship, and how you use those words and with what intention.
Thank you.
So these things are very important. And when you want to get out of a relationship, then you need to engage yourself constructively for a cause that will definitely divert your mind and ease up your difficulty. Because yeah, I understand, with the experience with my clients who come to me, it's really very difficult for them to move on, to get out of a relationship and to heal them fast. But the best way is to divert your energy and mind and all focus towards something else which is worth it.
Thank
So
you. Thank you,
just,
Thank you, Deepshika.
yeah.
In the interest of time, we need to actually finalize this. So we've
And
got
most
again.
important, Most
Yes.
important thing, Katinda, I don't want to miss it. The best way is what you to predict anything is to create. So which kind of relationship you want, just create. Like put in your efforts, put in your intention from the very beginning, from the very first day. Then definitely that will turn into amazing relationship. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. We have a comment here from Washi Raphael. He says, when the toxic relationship is based on a family relationship, how then can you get out of it, or how can you best handle it? Who wants to answer that question?
So I'm taking it.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So sure. So the very first thing, first of all, focus on yourself. Like, if what you can do about it. That's very sure that we can't change everyone around us, but we can change something about us or change the way we look at certain things, certain people, or certain situation. So that will definitely, minimize the problem to 50%. So our 50% problem is already, just minimized. So we can start with that, and then we can definitely take professional help and just motivate people to work on relationships and mend the things.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to add to that?
May I add one point here?
Go for it.
When we're talking about toxic relationships, we have to understand that all situations are not ideal. We're not talking about comfortable uncoupling or comfortable resignation or ideal conversations. The person in front of us may not be vocal about what their goals are. That's the baseline of toxic relationships. There are instances when the person who is on the victim side, on the receiving end, does not even know that that person is in a toxic relationship at the first place. And the person who has toxic traits may not even realize that that person has toxic traits. So being fair over here, if we look at, for example, a child who has toxic parents or is living in a non-conducive environment, the people around needs to take some responsibility in helping that child, because if we expect the child to realize and get out of that situation, it is not possible. And when we're talking about family systems, it is even more messy, because in couples it's easier to uncouple, but in families it is a different situation altogether. So we need to be mindful that whenever we are running in life, it is not on an autopilot mode. We have to take controls manually. If we are at the receiving end, try and take charge of the situation. If we see someone else going through a situation like that, try and give them some perspective. And on that note, I would, of course, again like to highlight that there is hope. One can rise as a phoenix, and one can make the situation better. We've seen several examples around us, and yes, it is possible.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to add to anything before we conclude? What are some strategies that people can use to manage and heal from toxic relationships? No one else? Okay. So before we conclude, I know there's so many ways to protect and manage your mental health and well-being. So what is one self-care ritual that you do for yourself on a daily basis to soothe your soul? We'll start with Victoria. Victoria?
Kindly rephrase your question. The network was breaking.
What is one self-care ritual you do for yourself on a daily basis to soothe your soul?
So I'm an ardent reader and a writer, of course. So I use writing in a therapeutic manner. And also I enjoy a lot of self-dates. Every day I do enjoy self-dates and writing. So writing and self-dates for me do work absolutely fine.
Thank you. What about Dipshika? What is one self-care ritual you do for yourself on a daily basis to soothe your soul?
I just practice yoga, and music is my, just recharger, I would say. So that's what I do.
Thank you. What about Kirti? What do you do?
So I love sitting in silence with myself, and I try to put a stop to the inputs and just let myself be. That really helps.
Thank you. Gloria, what about you?
Well,
We can't hear
I
you.
love writing
We can't
too.
hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I love
Yes, yes, we
writing
can.
too.
Mhm.
I just
Yes, yes,
try
we can.
to write more, write stories, write articles, and that makes me happy. And then listen to music, of course. Music is soothing, so that's what I do.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, you can find more information
Thank
on
you.
the
Now,
Global Youth
you can find
Mental
more
Health
information
Awareness
on the Global
using our
Youth.
website, www.globalyouthmentalhealthawareness.org, or you can email jude@jimha.org. And just a quick, before we conclude, where can people find you? Just one place they can find you: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Where can people find you if they want to follow you or ask you some questions? Kirti.
So I'm available at on my handle PSY within.
Is that LinkedIn, or what platform is that?
All right. So it's available on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. What else? On Twitter as well. So PSY is short for psychology. PSY within, meaning see within yourself through psychology.
Thank you. Deepshika, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram with the same name.
Thank you. Gloria, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram with my name, Gloria Madu.
Thank you. What about Victoria? Where can people find you?
Thank you. What about
On
Victoria? Where
Facebook,
can
they can find me on Mental Health Conversations with Victoria. On LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, it's Victoria Mupinde.
Thank you. What about Joyke? Where can people find you? Hello, can you hear us?
I'm on Facebook with Elish. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram with Elisha1. On LinkedIn, you can find me with Chijioke Nwankwo. On Facebook, Elisha Nwankwo.
So
Those are the
what I would
places you can
suggest,
find me.
because people might
Thank
not
you.
quite know how to do that. So just put your links on the show, on the comments of the show on the Facebook page, so people can actually click on it. And that will just make it easier. And also for Thomas Kwame, your question can be answered on the Facebook page, because we're just coming towards the end of the show. So wherever you can see the question, guys, just respond to his question and sort of give him an answer. I can, of course, look at it and think, obviously, it sounds like toxic relationship if it's only based on when people are happy with something you've done for them. It doesn't look like very healthy to me. So thank you so much, all our panelists, for being awesome and giving us insight on how toxic relationships can heal you, what they can do for you, how they affect your life as well. And I want to thank you, viewers, for being so fabulous and for watching the Global Youth Mental Health Awareness Show. Until next time, may all you experience the frequencies of love and light. Stay blessed. Namaste. Okay. Just waiting for it to go off.